Good morning. On today's agenda, we have the nominations of Brett Shumates to serve as Assistant Attorney General, Civil Division, and John Eisenbergs to serve Assistant Attorney General for National Security. I'm pleased to support both and think that they'll be excellent in their role in the Department of Justice. This morning, I want to highlight several FBI emails that I'm making public this very day. These emails show Biden FBI agents planning and celebrating the indictment of Trump advisor Peter Navarro in 2022. Upon receiving news of Navarro's impending indictment, former anti-Trump FBI official Timothy Tebow replied, "Wow, great," end of quote. Yet, when a criminal referral was issued for Nellie Orr, the FBI and DOJ chose not to press charges against her. As many of you know, Orr was a Fusion GPS contractor involved in the fraudulent Crossfire Hurricane investigation against Trump, and Orr's husband was an FBI agent who also worked against Trump. Orr was accused of lying to Congress. In the last several months, I've also released FBI emails about genesis of Arctic Frost. Arctic Frost was the FBI case against Trump that became one of Jack Smith's cases. Through records that I've already made public, the investigation's political origins are now firmly established. Anti-Trump agent Tebow and his merry band of partisans started the case. Many of the FBI agents on Arctic Frost were also involved in the Navarro case, like Special Agent Walter Giardina. My Democratic colleagues have been warning us about quote unquote weaponization of the FBI and the DC U.S. Attorney's Office under Trump. They've told us repeatedly of the dangers of law enforcement being used against political enemies. Now, believe me, we Republicans know, because Democrats are reading us pages from the Biden playbook. Biden's DOJ, including the FBI and the DC U.S. Attorney's Office, were weaponized, politicized, and used to target and imprison political enemies. We know this thanks to heroic whistleblowers. The Biden DOJ and FBI did this even as, according to the FBI's own statistics, violent crime rose 4.5% in 2022. The DC's U.S. Attorney's Office refused to prosecute 2/3 of the criminals arrested in our nation's capital that very same year. Instead of focusing on the rampant cases of murder and rape perpetrated against everyday Americans, personnel in the FBI's Washington field office and DC's U.S. Attorney's Office obsessed over ways to target President Trump and his allies. And when Arctic Frost was open, Tebow said that, quote, "the case will be prioritized over all others in the branch," end of quote. When speaking about investigations, Tebow commented that, quote, "it frankly took too long for us to open this," end of quote. Their conduct is disgraceful and un-American. Transparency brings accountability, which is why I'm reiterating my request for Attorney General Bondi and Director Patel to produce all records related to this political rot. We find in some instances people that have been around the Department of Justice for decades are the bureaucrats holding up some of this. So this is why we need to have these top officials of Bondi and Patel to step in and make sure everything that ought to be public without question is actually made public. Senator Herbert.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to address the nomination of Ed Martin in your opening remarks?
I'll have comment on that after you get done.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this time. My understanding, and there will be an official announcement by the chairman this morning, it's my understanding that we are not going to move forward on the Martin nomination. I had promised to vote, to ask for a vote in this committee today, but on the basis of the chairman's, I hope my clear understanding, I'm not going to make that move. But I do want to tell you a lot has happened since we last met here relating to the nomination of Ed Martin. The chairman submitted questions, I submitted questions, and we received responses in some instances by Mr. Martin. What we found is virtually unprecedented in the history of the committee that I've served on now for over 20 years. Last Friday, we received responses from Mr. Martin to these questions, and it raised even more questions. Mr. Martin made a number of false statements and contradictory statements that were easily disproven by material he himself disclosed in the Senate Judiciary questionnaire. And it wasn't just my questions, it's Chairman Grassley's questions as well. First, there is Mr. Martin's relationship with Timothy Hale Cusinelli, a January 6 rioter and a Nazi sympathizer. In response to Chairman Grassley's question to Mr. Martin, he said, quote, "I am not close with Mr. Hale Cusinelli, and I otherwise do not have close, consistent interactions with him," end of quote. That answer is contradicted by Mr. Martin's own words and actions. Mr. Martin interviewed Mr. Hale Cusinelli at least 5 times in the year 2024 alone. In one of those interviews, Mr. Martin said, and I quote, "Tim Hale is an extraordinary guy. I've gotten to know him real well. I'd say we're friends over the last few years, and especially in the last month since he's been out of jail," end of quote. Mr. Martin told Chairman Grassley, and I quote, "I was not aware of Mr. Hale Cusinelli's comments and views until after Mr. Martin presented Mr. Hale Cusinelli with an award last July. Mr. Martin told me that he hadn't seen photos of Mr. Hale Cusinelli with a Hitler mustache prior to that award ceremony in response to a question I asked. As a reminder, this is the award ceremony where Ed Martin called Mr. Hale Cusinelli, and I quote, "an extraordinary man, an extraordinary leader." Again, Mr. Martin's own words and disclosures he provided to the committee contradict what he just said. Just weeks before presenting this award ceremony, Mr. Martin excused Hale Cusinelli dressing up like Hitler as, quote, "goofing around," and claimed he was being smeared and slurred by allegations of anti-Semitism. Mr. Martin himself has made a number of offensive comments. In 2022, he said, quote, "President Joe Biden is a Hitler, and I'm not joking when I say that." On his podcast, Mr. Martin said, and I quote, "You show me a Jewish American who feels good about the Democratic administration, and I'll show you someone who's not really Jewish," end of quote. Goofing around. In a letter sent to the committee earlier this week, 11 national Jewish organizations representing more than 1 million members across the United States raised concern about Mr. Martin's nomination. They wrote that his associations are, quote, "not only dangerous, they reveal a pattern of behavior that is incompatible with the responsibilities of a U.S. attorney, a role meant to uphold justice and protect all communities, including Jewish Americans, from hate and extremism." I've never questioned a member of this committee, nor will I, in terms of this issue on anti-Semitism, and I know the chairman's position because the first hearing we had under your new chairmanship was on the issue of anti-Semitism. You made it clear that you wanted to focus on that hate crime, and I'm glad you did. Mr. Martin also wrote to Chairman Grassley, and I quote, "I do not condone violence against police, and I respect and revere our policemen and policewomen around the nation." Again, Mr. Martin's own words contradict that assertion. In August of 2023, he excused violence by January 6 rioters, saying, quote, "We have to have less judgment on somebody who hits a cop." Let me repeat that. Mr. Martin's own words in August of 2023, "We have to have less judgment on somebody who hits a cop." He continued, quote, "I've seen people hit a cop, and that doesn't make it the end of the world." He called January 6 rioters, including those who beat the police officers in the Capitol, quote, "patriots and victims." He called prosecutors who handled the January 6 cases despicable and terrorist. I'm also alarmed by the vast number of items Mr. Martin omitted from his questionnaire. Of approximately 1,900 writings or appearances he was required to disclose, he initially omitted at least 400 items, over 20% of the total. Now, people make omissions. In fact, we've had some in the past. We've had nominees for U.S. Attorney who've made 4 omissions, 3 omissions, 1 omissions. But in that situation, we have a situation with Mr. Martin where 400 items were omitted. Since this committee met last week, a whole body of evidence has emerged on Mr. Martin. The Washington Post uncovered nearly 150 appearances by Mr. Martin on RT and Sputnik, networks funded and directed by the Russian government, all undisclosed by Mr. Martin in response to this questionnaire. Many occurred as recently as last year, which calls into question Mr. Martin's claim that, quote, "I've done my best to identify all responsive material." Just this week, my staff uncovered an event Mr. Martin should have disclosed. Here's what he said at the event: "You're not a racist if you don't like Mexicans." I'm appalled that anyone would make a statement like that and aspire to be the top U.S. attorney in the United States of America for this administration. Mr. Chairman, thank you for taking my concerns with this nomination seriously. This man, Mr. Martin, has not taken our process and questionnaires seriously. His record makes it clear that he doesn't have the temperament or judgment for this job. I'll look forward to debating it the next time we meet.
We need everybody here. One of our members is going to be absent, so when I'll call on people that want to say anything, because I know some people wanted to speak after we voted, and if you want to take the opportunity to do that now, it'd be very helpful for efficient use of time. We'll stand at ease then. We gotta have. What? We're waiting for members? Yeah.
We're waiting for Senator Cruz and Senator Hawley.
What?
We're waiting for Senator Cruz and Senator Hawley on the way.
Yeah. We're waiting for 2 members on our side. One more?
Wait for Cruz and Hawley for last.
No, we need 2 more.
Cruz and Hawley. Wait, they're on their way.
Oh,
Senator
there.
Cruz and Senator Hawley on their way.
Our members are on their way. Members, just for information, so I don't adjourn this meeting when people want to speak. Are there people that want to speak after we have the votes? Okay, then when we're done voting, we'll adjourn the meeting. You asked what I just said? Yes, sir. Yeah, I was told that some people on this committee may want to speak after we vote, and I want to make sure I don't adjourn the meeting, and I didn't get anybody say that they wanted to speak, so when we have the vote, I'll adjourn the meeting. Is that okay, or did you want to speak? No, sir, I'm astonished. Well, you should be saying, praise the Lord.
Senator Kennedy, you don't have a story for us? About the time when? No?
Call the roll on John Eisenberg.
Mr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Cornyn.
Aye.
Mr. Lee.
Aye.
Mr. Cruz.
Aye.
Mr. Hawley.
Aye.
Mr. Tillis.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mrs. Blackburn. Aye. Mr. Schmidt. Mrs. Britt.
Aye by proxy.
Mrs. Moody. Aye. Mr. Durbin.
No.
Mr. Whitehouse.
No by proxy.
Ms. Klobuchar.
No by proxy.
Mr. Coons.
No by proxy.
Mr. Blumenthal.
No.
Ms. Hirono.
No by proxy.
Mr. Booker.
No by proxy.
Mr. Padilla.
No.
Mr. Welch.
No.
Mr. Schiff.
No.
Chairman Grassley.
Aye.
On this vote, the ayes are 12, the nays are 10.
Okay. Nominee will be favorably reported. Now, please call the Brent Shoemake.
Mr. Chairman, before you call it, I'd like to have statements about each of the nominees placed in the record.
Without objection, those statements will be placed in the record. Call.
Mr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Cornyn.
Aye.
Mr. Lee.
Aye.
Mr. Cruz.
Aye.
Mr. Hawley.
Aye.
Mr. Tillis.
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mrs. Blackburn. Aye. Mr. Schmidt.
Aye.
Mrs. Britt.
Aye by proxy.
Mrs. Moody. Aye. Mr. Durbin.
No.
Mr. Whitehouse.
No by proxy.
Ms. Klobuchar.
No by proxy.
Sorry. Ms. Klobuchar?
No by proxy.
Mr. Coons?
No by proxy.
Mr. Blumenthal?
No.
Ms. Hirono?
No by proxy.
Mr. Booker?
No by proxy.
Mr. Padilla?
No.
Mr. Welch? No. Mr. Schiff?
No.
Chairman Grassley?
Aye.
On this vote, the ayes are 12, the nays are 10.
Okay. Mr. Schumate will be reported to the floor. Senator Kennedy? Senator Kennedy.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is the first time we have met as a committee since Senator Durbin announced that he wasn't going to run for reelection. And I wanted to acknowledge that and thank him for his years of service. I know it was a difficult decision.
Thanks, Senator.
I haven't said anything about it, but I did tweet on the subjects. I refer you to that.
Well, tweeting is better.
He's so with it.
He is. He's what cool looks like.
Senator Lee.
I also just wanted to chime in. I've really enjoyed working with Senator Durbin, and we'll miss him. He was one of the first people who befriended me when I joined the committee 14 years ago. We've worked on a lot of legislation together and passed some good things, and appreciate your service. Thank you.
Senator Cruz.
Well, Mr. Chairman, to join this parade, while Senator Kennedy chose to speak about Senator Durbin and Chairman Grassley chose to tweet about Senator Durbin, I did a podcast about Senator Durbin. And I apologized to him yesterday on the floor because I actually sang his praises in the podcast, which I'm sure will be used as ammunition for political attacks for his remaining tenure in the Senate. But he is a remarkably talented lawyer, and he and I have disagreed on many issues, but he is a formidable adversary. And as I said on the podcast, he sounds quite reasonable at times, even when he is not. And so that's a compliment of sorts. And Dick, we will miss you.
Thank you.
Senator Cruz, you're never in danger of that happening to you.
You going to say something about?
You want to speak?
Are you going to say something about the Martin?
Well, I said it all on Twitter.
No. We're talking about the Martin.
You could read us your tweet.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess this is something I neglected to say after, this isn't about his retirement. This is about a subject he brought up when he opened his comments. I'm going to wait until we get D.C. U.S. Attorney put on the agenda. In the meantime, we've had people on our staff that had more questions and I think wanted to meet personally. And then also, I see from your statement, you've gone through all 500 questions that you've read through. I haven't done that yet, so we'll wait until we put it on the agenda. And another reason I didn't say anything is I thought our staff said work this out ahead of time, but I'm willing to state publicly what I think was worked out at that particular time. And I thank you for not bringing up the vote for the hearing yet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, okay. Meeting adjourned.